get started here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, part of the meeting that we asked if anybody's got something that's not on the agenda, they have an opportunity to say whatever they got, and we can't act on it. Looks like Mr. Meyer.
I don't have anything to add on it. I just saw this last week in the Cartersville Times, and I wanted to bring it to your attention about Ready 2. I don't know if you
saw
read
that.
it or not. Did you read it?
Yeah.
It's really good, a really good article
Yeah.
about, and this is Tammy, so you can give it back to her, but if you if you get a chance to read it, really do, because it shows the Jackson and Bartholomew and Jennings Township, Jennings counties, RDA are going out. They aren't, but the Jackson County Tourism Bureau and Chamber of Commerce are going out trying to get the smaller communities like Cartersville and Medora and stuff like that to come up with something. And I just saw that. I can't believe that Kirk Kovner wrote it, but he did. And
Are you sure? Sure it wasn't the intern?
well, it might have been an intern. But anyway, it really, I just want to bring to your attention, because
Okay.
if we don't play, we're not going to win. And we got to play. And so think about some things. I'm going to try to do that to the city council, Austin Town Council, or city council too, and even our county council, because we've got to think about some things that we can use. Because there's going to be Ready 2, it seems like. The governor said that. I had lunch with him at one aside down on Tuesday, and he was all in with it. So if you get a chance, look at it. I didn't buy a paper. Kirk Kovner gave me a paper, so I said I refused to buy one, Kirk. Well, I call him Perry White, but anyway. It is a really good article about what's going on up there, and they only got 30 million. We have 50, and there's going to be a pot, I think, for Ready 2.
So how big is their RDA? Is it Jackson County, Johnson, and?
No, Jackson, Bartholomew, and Jennings.
Okay.
So, we got to play. We got to play.
Okay.
So I just want to bring that to your attention. Be sure to get that back to Tammy, but if you can't read it, I'll
Okay.
send it off to you.
I see on the other part here, it says 18 parcels sale, it's got a tax sale for
Yeah, I
$401,000.
saw that too.
Yeah, we had a good sale, actually.
That money goes.
That money goes into the county's bank account. The surplus part does, the other part is for taxes, so that gets them off delinquent tax roll. And the auditor has a job now for the next 365 days.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Mr. Chesser,
Good evening.
how you doing, sir?
I'm well. How about you all?
Just fine.
I just brought everybody copies, but the purpose of me being here tonight is to request the appointment of a new board member
Thank you.
to our Scott County Visitors Commission, Mr. Jim Jonas. Jim is one of the family owners of Goat Milk Stuff. And as we've been going through and various members rolling off the board or choosing not to move forward with our organization, we've been looking to refill those positions with folks that are either a direct line or a dotted line in the tourism hospitality industry. And Mr. Jonas and his family represent one of the primary destinations in Scott County. And after visiting with him, he's very excited about being a part of our commission and helping. He understands that we are in the transition of becoming a department of county government, and in that process the board will become an advisory role. And he is fine with that because he believes he's got some very valuable experience and knowledge that he can share and continue to move us forward.
All right. So, I'm going to say this because I think this is technically the first time we've ever appointed someone to that board, isn't it?
Mom Patel, I think, was an appointment years ago.
Yeah,
But now, since it's now going to be
Well, we
more
just-
advisory.
First time we'll make an appointment.
And then you.
No.
no, it's actually
We
not
did that
true.
earlier
We
this
did
year
that with,
Jessica Carr.
Yes.
that's
For the
correct.
hotel
yeah.
representation, yes.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
not, it's, okay. So, Tammy, I mean, do we, since it's not a new, it's a new member, but it's filling a,
his term.
a
Replacing.
person that's resigned, so.
Yes.
So,
Totally for the remainder of their term, yes.
Yeah, it's just filling an
A
opening.
vacancy.
And it is our
It is
person.
your role. It
Because I
is
know the
your
city
appointment,
puts,
yes.
appoints some people as well.
Yep.
So, it is our appointment, so I
Yep.
guess, anybody got any discussion on that? I mean, I know Mr. Jonas, I mean,
And just so you know, Mike, of the 7 members we have, you have 5 appointees, and the city has 2.
yeah. John, you got any questions?
No, I think it's a good choice.
So, I'll entertain a motion to put Mr. Jim Jonas on the Scott County Visitors Commission.
I make a motion, put Jim Jonas, on the Visitors Commission.
John makes a motion, Randy?
I second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
2 other items that are very quick for you this evening. One to let you know that Haunted Downtown with the city is scheduled for Monday, October 31st. We have met with the Sheriff's Department for safety and security measures. We've also talked with the city of Scottsburg about that. I've got to go to the city commission meeting, but we're discussing actually closing First Street, Wardell, and Main Street, just right here around the courthouse, just for the safety and security for the kids. We have, as of today, at 5 o'clock, we have 82 businesses that have, businesses, clubs, or organizations that have registered to participate. Last year was a record year, we had 62. So,
I think, as a person that's been out there every year since you've done it, I agree with that, because I thought they were gonna shut it, and it didn't get shut.
Right.
And, I know we shut Main Street down at the library, but if you came around the square, you could still make Main Street, so. But I think, you know, if you need help with the city convincing them, I'd be more than willing to tell them I think it needs to happen. And it'll only be for a couple hours anyway,
Right.
so.
I was gonna say, what's the hour, 6 to 9, or is that
It's
trick or treat?
6 to
That's all
8.
part of the trick or treat? That's the same
it's a-
night, I think.
Same night. This event is from 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock. Now, I'm not gonna fib to you, there are people down here at 4:30, you know,
They're lined up.
looking for candy, but,
Well, what I want to know is I think Scottsburg and Austin's already adopted, I don't know if we adopted the actual trick or treat hours for the, or the
I don't
dates
know if
even.
we've
We need
ever
to,
done
And it's on a
and I don't know if
Monday,
Scott,
correct?
yeah, we have.
No,
But
Cities-
Scottsburg and Austin, I don't even know if it's the same night.
no, Austin's on Friday and Scottsburg's on Monday.
yep.
Scottsburg's on actual holiday, or on
On
the
the actual
holiday, or on the
yeah.
Halloween night, so.
Yeah, Austin is doing their trunk or treat, as Mike said, Friday night, the 28th, I think.
Yeah,
that
it's
sounds
28.
right.
But I think, you know, if you need, when you go to the city, I mean, you can, I guess, say from this board that we think they need to shut it, and as a person that's been out there with the fire department, I think it needs to be shut, because there's a little kid can get away from mom and dad pretty quick, and there is a lot of traffic, so.
Yeah. And with that many businesses and the anticipated attendance,
Well, it might
I
open
just
it up
think
a
it's
little bit
prudent.
more.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought it might be a good idea to have trick or treat night in the county the same way. I don't
You
know.
guys have said that before in the past, just to get the knowledge out there that, you know, the county would allow trick or treaters from 6 to 8 out in the, you know,
It would seem logical to me
Out
that
in
the
the
same
county.
night you're having this, so
that's up to you
so
guys
they
if
just
you
don't
wanna
run
make.
loose over the,
So is
whenever
that
they
the
want.
30th or 31st?
It's actually Monday, the 31st.
That sounds best to me,
I think
not to do it.
we can do that, so we can just say, I think I don't have a problem with going to 9 o'clock or whatever, because I think that's what we used to do
I think
years
so.
ago, so.
Yeah.
So 6 to 9
6 to
for the
9 on
county.
October
Yeah.
31st.
So
Yeah.
by consensus, you guys agree that trick or treating will be observed in the county from 6 to 9, October 31st, right?
Yes.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah. What else you got?
Last thing I wanted to visit with you about is we're starting to prepare for Christmas, and I just want to make sure everything is still good. Still good. to
We're gonna get our
utilize the-
cameras a little better.
Well, I did want to let you know that we have talked with the company that we purchased those from. They're giving us a brand-new replacement for the one that got stolen last year at no cost.
Good.
So it was very nice of them.
I'm gonna get with Randy, he's probably got a deer stand or two, or a deer camera or two that we'll put out there on some trees, maybe we'll catch that guy.
But we've talked with the city and Jerry Asher, they've been doing it for the last, who knows how many years.
Yeah.
But we've talked to them, and it looks like we're gonna be covering from the walkway all the way around the front, around the west side of the building, and all the way back up to the gazebo this year, just with last year's and new products
Good deal.
we've purchased. We've got, we actually have 3 singing Christmas trees this year that are animated, so. we've got
Well,
those
I
ready.
know, I'll say for one, I had a lot of people comment on them last year, and being a person that's helped the city in the past put them up, I know it's a lot of new stuff, so it's a lot nicer stuff, and, you know, like I said, a lot of people comment on it.
We're planning a lighting ceremony.
So they're not gonna be on when everybody gets here.
You talking about Christmas now?
Yes,
The
on the 26th.
parade and the whole bit
Yeah.
like normal?
The parade will take place, and then after the parade, we're looking at doing an actual lighting ceremony from the gazebo with PA system, the whole bit. Bob Ward has said that he would come out and do pictures with Santa and Mrs. Claus for free for the kids. We've got a DJ that's planned to be out there to do, you know, Christmas music, games, dance contests, you know, little things like passing a hula hoop around a big circle of kids, you know, just.
What
So what day is that?
date and time?
That is Saturday, the 26th.
Okay.
And we're working on the time. We're gonna be doing, trying to find a sponsor to cover, you know, free cookies and hot chocolate for the evening as well. We're gonna do letters to Santa, that sort of thing. But just make it a little more of a
Well, I know people like
family-friendly event.
people like the horse carriage rides and,
The
and,
city's gonna continue to do those.
and actually I don't know if it's Brandy, has that little
That little
train
train,
thing.
yep.
That is a big hit. I mean,
It is.
So,
Yep.
so anyway, I appreciate what you do,
Sure.
so,
Well, that's all I got, gentlemen.
all right,
We
so.
have another, thing on the square over here, car show and all that, or one more.
The last one is this Friday. Scottsburg Main Street has got their cruise in this Friday, starting at 6 o'clock. It is the last Summer Music on the Square event over on the 752 lot, which is right there in the corner of 1st and 56th, where Kevin Smallwood has his barbecue truck. And then there's a movie on the lawn here, and that is Halloween Frankenweenie. So it's animated.
I saw that, I was like, so,
But that will be the last one of the season, I believe.
They're
And
pretty successful, haven't they?
it's been very successful. It's been an event that between the car show, it has kept folks around for the movie, because the movie start times have been as late as 9:30, and I think this one is like 7:10 is when, you know, sunset is scheduled, so.
Come bundled up.
Pardon me?
Be cold, come bundled up, yeah.
Well, it shouldn't be too bad. Should be
It's
in the
supposed to be
60s.
warmer, you're
Supposed to be
right.
warmer.
Yeah.
Should be in the 60s.
Yeah.
it's a
Keep
cold
our
week.
fingers crossed and knock on wood and all that fun stuff, so. All right.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
I will
Thank
excuse
you.
myself and go walk some dogs.
All right, talking about the Child Advocacy Center's letter of support for a grant. I think everybody's familiar with the group that came in here and talking about what they do for children, and actually have done, I think, 109 times, if I'm not mistaken, cases in Scott County. So this I've been told, and I actually received another, a text message from Representative Fry today, and also from, Mary Beth Boone, stating that this is just a grant application, and pretty much just saying that we're supporting them, and it's, you know, it's not tying us to any kind of financial thing in the future, but it's just for them to say that we have supported them, and we're, you know, if we can do it, we would look at possibly doing it in the future. So I guess they need or my signature, I guess, on this. So if anybody got any comments?
No, it doesn't tie us to anything. I think it makes their program probably more permanent, because they'll have I think they're in right now, with another group, building, I think they rent a building.
Yeah, I think in Madison they have a building there. They have one in Dillsboro, and someplace else, I think.
Anyway, no,
Yeah,
as
she
long as it doesn't, I don't see, have you read this, Zach? As long as it doesn't tie us to anything. That
And
would
I have
hurt
the
them.
one that needs to be signed.
I'm all for you signing it, Mike.
Randy, you got any comment?
No, sign away.
So I'll entertain a motion to give me the authority to sign this. It's just a cooperation agreement.
I'll make motion.
John makes a motion, Randy?
I second.
I'll make that unanimous, so. Highway. I don't know how Kevin got moved up on the schedule here, but
I wonder what a Hershey bar can do.
I got a couple things. I'm gonna bring Derek out with USI. We got a couple things to go over first here. So the first one, kind of cut and dry, that I got is an on-call professional service agreement. And I'll tell you what I know about it, but yeah, it's basically making an agreement with USI, you know, if we have any emergencies, kind of like Jefferson County done with the washaway bridges or anything like that, we would already have an agreement with them to, as far as the actual costs and the services that they could do, that they would be on call, we could call them in and use them.
so this would lock us into a set price, is what you're saying?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be a set price, as it would be on
An hourly basis.
an hourly basis, and you can see here on the back that it shows their services and how much
It's this
they would
one.
charge you
Did I make a copy?
for the service.
Oh, no, I didn't make a copy of this one because he had sent that to you by email.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Do you
the
have
one you
this
guys
copy?
got.
No, it's fine.
Here, do you want to look at it?
And those get updated every year based on NDOT's, after they do the, set the rates and so forth, those get set off of that.
So it's state of Indiana rates is what we're talking
Yes,
about?
basically.
Okay. Zach, have you had an opportunity to look at this? You're fine with it?
I think it'd be a good thing for our county to have set in place in case anything occurs like that.
Well, I agree. I mean, it's like the bridge we had on Main Street when it started washing out a little bit, so. Have we in the past, I guess, have we had anything like this?
Not that I'm aware of.
And it's, like I said, it's an as needed
Right.
situation.
So it's not walking the same day thing.
It's the scope of the work, if needed, would need to be agreed upon prior to the performance. So, you know, I think it's establishing the existence of the relationship there to use that person for this purpose, but, there's no, like, necessity, I guess, like requirement to, use that person for any particular job unless, you know, you felt that it was an emergency situation.
All right, so again, we're not entering into an agreement to do anything outside unless we have an emergency that we'd be calling somebody in on it.
And you'd have a separate opportunity to kind of delineate the scope of the work.
And there's the very last page of this is an authorization to proceed, and that's where the date of the project, what's going on, we have it spelled out for the scope, and then we would need a signature from the county saying yes to proceed prior to us doing anything, and everybody'd have to agree to it. So all it is just to have something in place so that the terms are already somewhat set. Scope is what we talk about at the time.
Okay, so it's, again, I'm just trying to get it clear in my head that we're not walking into, saying that we're doing it with, because
Right.
if we have a situation where we got a problem with a bridge and, it's over a certain amount of money, we're gonna have to bid it out anyway, so, okay.
Yeah.
John, you got any questions or comments?
No, that's good.
Randy, you got any questions or comments? This is something you wanna do?
Yeah, I think it'd be something good for the county to have in place. Hopefully we don't have to use it, but if we do, it'll be ready.
I guess I'll entertain a motion to enter.
I'll make a motion.
John makes a motion to enter into, a agreement, I guess, with an emergency agreement with USI Consultants, for, I guess, bridge and, consulting, I guess, in emergency situation. Yeah,
Professional services.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. What else you got?
The second thing I want to talk about is, and this is just a discussion of what USI has to offer, and it's small structure inspection. They presented to me and one program that they have that they've been doing for a few counties. And, we have the inspections for the large bridges. We don't have anything from, 19 foot and under, basically. And the county doesn't have anything in place that's under 19 feet, which is a lot of structures. So, yeah, I'm gonna need that. So basically, and this is just a print off, we would pick a size that we would want them to inspect and put into the program for us. So if we said, 5 feet and up, we want everything programmed into a small structure program so we can see what the county has all the way through the county, the shape it's in, how much it's gonna cost to get it fixed, and so on and so forth. And I'll let him show you on the iPad kind of how it sets up and works.
This is the software program that USI has developed. It's real similar to the bridge inspection software. This happens to be, at this point in time, Tipton County. And all the, come on, work on me. This is all of their small structures within the county. Now, this is not only on the iPad, but it can also be on the phones, all right? So as Kevin's driving around, he can see what these structures look like, or if he's in a meeting and somebody brings up a structure, you can actually pull it up and see what structure they're talking about, what the condition is, and what it's gonna look like, okay? It also prints off a report, similar like what he just handed off to you, and it's, there's a report of one of them, of what it looks like, and then it's got pictures on that. So what we're looking at is anything that's 19 feet 11 inches and smaller is considered a small structure in the state of Indiana. Anything 20 feet and over is considered a bridge and will be under the federal bridge inspections. But the ones that are 19 feet 11 inches are not under that. So I think that most of you can agree that a 19 foot 11 inch bridge can collapse just as easily as a 20 foot bridge and cause just as much problems for you. So you need to know, what are those structures looking like, what kind of condition are they in, are we looking at something there now? How many of those structures do you have in the county? We don't know yet. We need to do an inventory of them. Where do we keep all that information? Sometimes you can put them on the GIS, sometimes you have them on stuff like this program here that you can actually just pull up on the phone or in the iPad. If for whatever reason you say, I'm going to be paving with community crossings and I want a road to look at, and it's over here off of whatever this road name is, I can tell that there is a small structure there. Well, I know that it's a certain color, which tells me what condition it's in, so maybe I don't need to replace that one. But if I have one that's severely deteriorated, I might need to look at replacing that prior to putting that pavement down, so that I don't have to go back and cut that road with that new pavement. That's the last thing we want to do. So that will help him in that long run being able to see those. So he has access to it on his phone or on an iPad or his computer in his office. So he keeps that wherever he's at, he will have access to that. It could even have access to all of you guys, you know what they're looking at too. It's just a matter of password and email address for you guys to have a limited. Now, nobody else but USI can look at these, so another county can't pull your information up, you can't modify it, you can't change it, you can't do anything. It has to go through a secure area with us, so that way you don't have somebody coming in and messing with your data. We're gonna keep that secure with that. So you guys can't look at another county can't look at yours.
So this is on top of the bridge report?
This is
that
on
you guys used to do?
something completely, this is different. This is for the 19, 11-inch bridges, 19 feet, 11 inches and smaller. But what we have seen with other counties that we do this with, some of them pick 4 feet up to 19 feet 11, some say 5 feet up to 1911, some say 6, some say 10. Jefferson County we're doing theirs at this time. Theirs is every 10 feet up to 19 feet 11. Those are the ones we're looking at for them.
Think about, and I'm kinda like him, we just got that big book with everything been on it, but we don't have anything for these 11 foot.
Yep.
So those aren't included in that book. we
That's
got.
correct. They're not
Okay.
included.
All right.
These are just for that book is just for the big, the 20 feet and above bridges.
Okay.
Something to keep in mind on this, I think this is gonna be required at some point through for us to have some sort of asset management plan with small structures. That's coming in the future, no doubt about it. I think this could help the county get a good idea on actually where they stand on structures. And it would probably be real eye-opening once we got a good handle on what all the small structures look like throughout the county on money. And, it's something that you could take to the council and budget out 10 years.
So what kind of cost are we talking? Or is this this is you guys doing it, it's not our software, it's your software, you're just sending us a report. So what's it costing?
Well, we're doing the inspection. Go ahead, I'm gonna need to interrupt you.
Well, I was gonna say, I guess that kind of falls back to our field. We'd have to make a decision on what size of structure we want to start with. If we want to say 5 foot and to 19 foot 11, we want to look at those structures. If we want to go down to 16 inches and above, well, likely would be 5 feet and above. Have them inspected, looked at, entered into the program.
You're talking 5 foot,
Yeah.
what's a normal road?
Well, I'm talking about circumference
Oh, you're talking,
And-
of the structure.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
All right,
talking about.
okay,
We're
now that
talking
makes
like
more
basically just small ditches almost, it sounds like.
No, well, the culverts, they can be anywhere from,
Well, look at
you know
this
better than
one.
I do what sizes. You can have multiple sizes.
I'm thinking the one on Robin Lane I talked to you about, that the neighbors were all worried about, farmers. Does that fit into what we're talking
On
about?
so you're talking about
Yeah, out
diameter.
there, Mr. Paul, I asked you about, he was concerned about
Well,
it.
it's not
Yeah,
only
it would fall
diameter,
under-
but it can
that
be
would fall under-
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. This
Yeah.
is a 16-foot bridge. All right, so it can be this, or it can be actually, let me pull up another picture for
That's an
you.
8 foot opening, so that's an 8 foot structure. So, that's probably, I'm just like taking a wild stab, but that's probably a $50,000 to $75,000 replacement structure. If you got 20 of them in your county, which you likely do, it starts giving you a good idea on where you actually stand.
Well, I'm thinking with Ox Creek, wasn't that what it was?
So what you're saying is doing the same thing with smaller structures like you do at the bigger bridges?
That's correct, yes. Now, these are on a different scale, of course. On average, depending on, which kind of bridges we look at, some of them will probably want to load rate those. Some you don't have to. It doesn't, some we just need to look at. But on average, it's somewhere around $300 per structure to look at and inspect and have all the stuff that goes along with it. And that's on average. We don't know how many we have at this time, so that's part of what we have to do is go out and get that. If we decide it's, let's say, 5 feet and above, the ones that are 5 feet and below, that could be Kevin and his staff looking at those. And we have a form that he can fill out and take pictures of, and we can submit those. So all that's in here too, so he knows whether they're 16 inches, a foot, 2 feet, or up to the diameter wherever we get started and what we will look at.
So if we say, I'm gonna throw a number out there, 5 to whatever, but there's others, and Kevin sends his guys out and has them look at it, just like as you just said, sends the information to you, what's the cost of you inputting that into the report?
That's all built into that piece of it for him to do that. That's not, that's for us to maintain it. That's that cost
Somewhere
built
down the
in.
road, a year from now or something, we'll get another pamphlet or booklet or something that shows.
Well, it's all gonna be online, so
It's
it's all stored there, so you
Well,
won't,
actually, yeah.
you'll have that, so you won't get a book.
I was
Okay.
surprised that we got the book, cause last
I was
time
gonna say,
we
there's
just
probably a
got
lot more of
jump
these.
drive.
And there would be the bigger ones.
Well, and that has a thumb drive with those, but it's also online also. You can have a BIOS account with the NDOT, with Indiana and be able to look at all your bridges the same way. So he can have that online just as easily as he can there.
Okay.
So, but this is just for the small structures. That goes particular to your county only. Like I said, nobody else looks at them but your county.
How many do you
So-
think you got?
I haven't had time to go out and really
Yes.
get an idea. I can't. I'm going to. I just want to present this today to, this is the direction I
So
think we need to.
you're pretty much saying anything that goes under a road.
Yeah, I think my mind says I want to say 5 foot to 19 foot 11. Have them do anything else we'll do, and actually at some point have every structure we have in the county at our fingertips and the condition rating that they're in, where we can look at a 10-year plan that, hey, you know, we're going to have $400,000 worth of small structures replaced. It's not make believe. We gotta fix them. We gotta come up with money.
You're picking the hardest ones. Because it's a lot easier to look at a 5-foot pipe than it is a 12.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
'Cause
But,
then comes the camera.
Well,
Yeah,
and
and,
this-
and like I said, this is gonna be, at some point, it will be required for the counties to have this.
And you can see across the top, this is Tipton County's bridges. So I used theirs as a test. It's one that we're going to be putting out, but you can see that they have none under zero under the severely or closed ones, none under the severely ones. But you start seeing where they have some problem ones, and they only have 10 really bad ones. So they can start scheduling those as they need. So depending on the size, then he can get with a supplier to say what size of a culvert I have here, I need to get another one. Do we need to actually do a hydraulic study and say, is this one big enough or small enough? Is it the right size? If it is, we can call for, he can get hold of a company and say, I need this culvert and have it, and then schedule that as needed to get that
Right.
replaced.
I asked a crazy question, because I thought about this when we were back talking about the jail years ago with the sewer. And I know Temple does it, but would we ever consider lining any of these culverts that have?
Temple's actually given me a price on one out on Jack Morgan. I don't think it's gonna make sense on a county level, but they really wanted to give a price and let us look at it and see if it did. There's probably certain roads that it might, you know, like
'Cause I know
if you
the
didn't
city
want
did-
to disturb a slab or something.
The city does some here.
And, I'm familiar with them on the state level, we put some in. I see it on that level, I just don't
wonder
know if I see
how
it on the county
Yeah,
level.
I just wonder, you know, is the price cheaper than tearing the,
Usually not.
so it's
No,
not?
usually not. But with that being said.
Steve's shaking his head no too.
Usually
Steve
not.
likes this because then he can see and he says, hey, you need X number of culverts, I'm gonna sell you those, so he's on that.
I get that, but but that's,
Yeah, it's slipping.
I really
my
didn't
hands.
think,
So,
you know, if it would be something that'd even be feasible.
well, they're gonna give us a price back on that, and I'll be able to compare what it would cost us to tear that out, put the rock back in, put the culvert in, cap it, compared to them doing it. So I'll be able to get real numbers on
Okay.
what we're working on.
Alright.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be higher to go with the slip line, having a little experience with them.
Okay,
But this is just a discussion for it. I think it's
Okay.
the direction we need to go.
that's pretty interesting. So,
I think I can get us a kind of an estimate on it, we'll hear when things slow down. Road bosses go out in their area and count how many they think we got, and then we'll kind of be able to do the math, say, well, this is how much it's gonna cost to get into this.
Okay,
Kind of go from there.
sounds good. What else you got?
Like I said on this, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you very much.
Hang on. You too.
Okay. Okay, Bridge 105 update. We're still working on securing the right of way for the utilities. Met with the homeowner yesterday. I think we've all agreed upon a plan, when they get the corn out of that field.
Slide.
Yeah, when they get the corn out of the field here in the next week, me and Andrew's gonna go down there and lay it out. He's gonna meet us down there so we can just kind of see where everything is gonna lay. I think we're gonna be able to hash that out next week. Maybe
We're
move some
still
stuff
on-
around.
Still on track?
We're still on track for 11/18 for putting a date on the construction plans and the bid specifications, so we're still on
So
track
that
for
when the
that.
bids go out, or,
Yeah.
so when are we talking next year, roughly?
Well, we would be we might be in a little bit of a hold from the, utility company, Duke. Hopefully, we're kinda at their mercy, honestly, which I can call and talk to them, and Civil Collin's been talking to them. You know, at first they come back at a year, now they've backed it off to maybe 6 months, and now maybe even backed off to 3. So I'm hoping next spring, summer, that's what I'm really hoping. But those are high transmission lines, and they can't angle, they can't lean, they have to turn 90 guide poles. So basically, you know, we're gonna have to secure probably about 3/4 of an acre right away to move all that over. It shouldn't have ever been put into place to begin with. It should have been away from the bridge, but it wasn't, so.
Okay.
Anyway, we're going the right
We're on
direction.
schedule.
Yeah, we're on schedule.
I wanted to throw something out
Yeah.
here. It's about Bridge 01. That's the Main Street Bridge, isn't it?
It is.
And boy, you're here too, and I talked to Stamper about this quite a while back, and I think I did you too. I'm not sure if we've all talked about this or not, but I'd like to see us put a name on that bridge, like Scott County Veterans Bridge or Memorial Bridge or something of that nature. And Jeff said it could be done. I don't see that's a big problem, but all my history tells me our World War I veterans marched up and down that road. And it just seemed like an appropriate thing. I've seen other counties have bridges named after certain things or certain individuals. I'd like to do that.
We can look at it. I mean, I'm sure there's some roads out there that we probably would second guess how we named them now.
Well, we wouldn't be naming, we
No,
could
no.
rename the road, but I'm just talking about the bridge.
Will on,
Or,
at my
We
name.
could simply put a plaque on it once it's done.
that's either that or, or something.
That's not something we have to do while we're building it. right?
Well, he said they could do it. Have you talked about it, Steve?
Yeah, but
I
if
don't
you
know.
put it on the side, I mean, unless you're jumping, I mean, you're not gonna see it.
But I don't know the best way to do it, but I'd like to see that bridge named Scott County Veterans. Bridge.
I don't have a problem with that.
No, I think it's a good idea.
Do we need to vote on that or anything, or we just do it? Yeah, I do too.
You can dedicate it.
I think we need to, I think we need to,
I don't know if we've done it anywhere else or not.
I think we need to, before we vote on it, I think we just need to know exactly what we're gonna name it instead of just saying, let's name it something, but I think we come up with a solid name, and I don't have a problem being the veterans, and, I mean,
I've talked about it to some of the veterans, they thought it was a good idea too.
I think I
Legion
think that would,
especially.
anytime you can recognize them, I'd be for it. So.
And then as other bridges come up, we can look at whatever, firefighters, police,
And
whatever.
speaking of veterans, sometime we need to get Ms. Baldwin here and revisit that subject about getting her full-time.
I think
Mhm.
that's in the works.
Yep.
Just do the budget thing. Talk after they vote, I think, on the finalizing of the budget.
So,
Just wanted to
Which is
mention
the
that.
26, yeah.
can we, and I'm just asking this, can we vote on this next meeting?
Yeah, if we come
Just
up
pick
with
a
a
name,
solid
like a-
number or a name, I think.
I
we
would,
Bridge?
here's what, I would probably, if you guys are okay with this, I'll probably ask some of the veterans if they have a name they'd like.
Yeah,
And next year.
bring back a
whenever-
couple of names and
Yeah.
and we can narrow it down to a certain thing that sounds correct, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I want.
You know, I
We
was
can-
joking, but there's plenty of areas and people have lived here all their life that, you know, it's kind of funny when you talk about places, you don't really say it's exactly where it's at, it's, you know.
Yeah.
You just know that spot, that
Combs
landmark.
Corner.
Why don't we do
and-
this? Why don't we have, do it in the meeting and ask the veterans to attend, to do it in an open meeting?
I'll do
Have
that.
them come in here and
I'll be happy to do it,
give us.
unless you want to, but I'll be happy to do it. 'Cause I meet them 3 times a
Well, I
week
mean, I
anyway.
would just like to give all of them an opportunity.
Yeah.
That way, if we make it public and let them all come in, they can,
Mm-hmm.
they all,
Well, you
I mean,
may-
they all done sacrifice.
But you
I'm
might
for
have
letting
30
them.
names. I wanna
Well, I
name Rosie.
think, I think if we can get them to agree on anything,
Yeah. I
there's
think-
really two, the VFW and the Legion. But anyway, I mean,
I think
I'll,
it's a good idea, and I think have them come back with some suggestions, and,
yeah,
we can vote on it next meeting. I don't have a problem with that. So.
I will get with them on that.
All right, what else you got?
All right, gov deals. I had a handful more things, to put on there. Their guy was in the area and stopped by, so this ain't nothing we have to act on tonight. If you wanna come look at this stuff, fine. If not, we have a semi dump trailer. I don't predict that we'll ever use. I'm hoping maybe recoup that money and, put it towards a trailer that we might use, like an 80-20 split or something. There's a Blazer sitting back there. Tammy, Josh called you about that. Does that belong to the Board of Commissioners? Do you know?
Everything really is titled to the Board of Commissioners, so if nobody's using it and nobody wants it in their inventory in their department.
I think we
They
decommissioned it
can
because it had a hole in
decommission
the
it.
frame.
Is it
I
a
think it was
military
the old
vehicle or is it a?
Trailblazer.
No,
Yeah, that's
The
the
EMA
Trailblazer.
had
the
it.
Trailblazer, the
That's
one
one Josh
used
was
to drive.
driving and about fell apart.
Oh, the old white one? I thought it done.
Yeah.
It's sitting back there and he was there today. I'm like,
What
who's
year
this?
is that, Kevin? What model do you know? Trailblazer,
I don't have
I
my
don't know.
list.
Probably early
so
2000s.
it's the old white Trailblazer.
It's the old white Trailblazer.
Actually, wait a
yeah.
minute. I have that.
I know. Anyway, and then there's an old yellow triaxle trailer. I think it's a 1972. Is what the best I can tell on it. There's a Delta jigsaw and on a steel stand back there in the open building, and there's a belt sander on a steel stand back here in the open building. I mean, they both look like decent pieces of equipment, but it's nothing the highway department's ever going to use. So.
All right, so you just have a handful of things that you would like to get out. I'm gonna, since you're talking about that, I guess I'll piggyback off what you're saying there. I know Andrew has some things, Josh has some desks and chairs and stuff that's stacked up all over the place. There's stuff over here behind community corrections that they're wanting out of the way. I know 2 years ago, we were talking about having an auction and COVID happened and everybody was afraid to get out and do something. I don't know and I'm gonna throw this out, everybody can have a discussion, decide, but I don't know if we have enough to have our standalone auction, but what I'm suggesting is that if someone else is having an auction, maybe we can add our stuff to that auction, and then we can get rid of some of the stuff that's just piling up everywhere. And I'm not I don't think I wanna be in the business just storing stuff that we're never gonna use, so.
Yeah.
So if you've got some stuff, I've asked Josh Caldwell to come up with a list of stuff he has. Andrew kinda he has some stuff he would put in it, but he also has some stuff that he wants to put on a auction site that only IT people look at, because he said, I have some motherboards and some other stuff that those people would pay more money for, instead of going to an auction that nobody knows what it is, and they're gonna buy the box for $5 and there's $400 worth of stuff in it. So I guess, what's your guys' thoughts? I mean, about piggybacking off somebody else's auction that they're gonna have, because we're getting it almost out of the auction time period.
As long as we can separate it out, yeah,
I mean,
make sure it comes back to,
I'm not sure, like, I have, the county highway has a Gov Deals account all set up. Now, I'm not sure.
I'm fine with your stuff, but
Yeah, I'm not for sure, if you take pictures of that stuff and put it in our auction, I don't know that it matters. I don't know how you distribute the money. I don't know how that works, because it just,
Well, you put it in a lot number or something and separate it
yeah.
out.
I mean, we could tell,
They did it.
we can tell what it sells for. I mean, you can print that out. It shows.
Well, the auditor did it the last time when we had an auction, and the sheriff had stuff. Every department had something they threw in there. They just went in and said, hey, these 10 items are ours, those items are ours, and
Yeah.
they marked them all, so.
There's a lot of stuff the health department too.
There's a bunch of stuff everywhere that we just need to
I'm sure, yeah,
get going.
yeah.
I've climbed over enough chairs out to John Jones building and tables that are out there that desks that we just
Just
need.
in the way.
We're not doing anything with them, we're not gonna do anything with them, and we need to get rid of them. So,
Sometimes the school has an option. Sometimes the school districts will have a school surplus
they already did
auction.
theirs,
Oh, they did?
because they
Oh.
did it down here at Third Street with, and then stuff sat out there for about 2 weeks afterwards. And then I think it all got hauled off, whatever didn't get picked up, so. But anyway,
Well, and I got an old oil distributor we hung on to the last time, thinking maybe we might use it for something, but it's,
I think with your stuff, I think you continue to do what you've been doing with your auction.com.
okay.
And, cause you're already set up to do that, and if we get down the road and we're gonna do this other stuff, maybe if you got an item or something you don't wanna put on there, you can shove it in.
Okay.
So, that's my suggestion. Randy, what are you thinking?
I agree. Go ahead.
It's all yours, do it.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Well, we might, and again, I mean, I wanna use a local auctioneer, so I mean, I don't know how many auctions are left for the year or something that they
I
would
don't know.
have enough to even wanna fool with our stuff, but, and I don't have preference, so if anybody's got a preference, I mean,
Tree Kathy. When we put something in the paper, we're taking bids.
You want, I missed something, you want to use a local, you want to do a live auction like or something?
yeah.
Okay.
If, like, you know, Bob or
Brian
Richie's
Ritchie
or, I mean, well, there's two Ritchies,
I think Rex
but
used to do it.
Rex still does it, but I'm just saying that somebody local is, if they're having an auction, they do this all the time. If there's not a big enough estate auction, they take stuff from another auction and marry it together just to
What
have
do
a
we
big
get for
one.
money?
It goes to, well, if it's his, it'll go to him,
Yeah, but his stuff is going.
but the other will go to general fund.
Yeah.
It
Would
depends on where it was purchased from.
Just a
So,
thought, you
most
may
of
be
it
able to
goes
take it,
general
haul
fund.
it off the
But
auction
if there's
house.
a car or something that come out of the
Going down there
sheriff
buying
or
it, that has
the
auction every Friday
highway or
night.
whatever, then we note it
Yeah,
and we
that's
put that
all
back
down
in their
there.
auction
I never
proceeds.
thought
Haul it all
about
down
that.
there.
Well, there's
Yeah.
one, isn't there one at Austin
How
now?
much
think so.
money do we usually bring in for something like this?
Gosh, it's been, what, I think what I was,
Didn't we have a couple $100,000 last time?
I think we did.
That last one I remember was down at the highway.
Quite a bit of money, I mean, whatever you think's money, but I think a couple $100,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah, I wouldn't
But
turn
we
it
had-
down.
We didn't pay
And how
any
much?
commission though.
Let me, cause I've never auctioned anything off. How much does an auctioneer usually take?
We don't know because we never paid commission.
It was always done for
It was
free.
always donated.
Yeah, but that won't be done, so.
I don't know what, I don't know what an
10,
auction
15%.
commission
Common.
is.
Probably, yeah.
Somewhere
I think it's
in
at
that
least,
Working
I think it's
labor.
usually 10%.
Yeah, every bit of that, I think.
Just an idea, I don't even know if we can do it, but curious on whether or not we can maybe auction it off through kids first and do a 50-50 split.
I don't know. That's-
I don't know, but it,
You're
I
talking a
think-
couple $100,000.
yeah, but you're also talking a bunch of dang stuff that may not,
Even go,
yeah. I mean, desks and
might not be a
chairs.
good idea.
It might be,
Just-
I mean,
Just a
yeah, I
passing
see
thought
that.
while we're talking about it, but
Yeah, I get that, but, so, I think we need to reach out to an auctioneer or somebody to see who's still got some for the rest of the year. And I know they're wanting space over here, and I know
we need to get rid of it.
there's a couple of bays out at the John Jones building stacked full of stuff, so, and I've already put the word out to Josh and to Andrew, you know, if you got something, you know, get a list, so.
Especially if it would fit with what they're selling. Like if there's a lot of office furniture or something, we might be able to put ours, I mean, it would be the same.
It would've been ideal
Yeah.
with the school, but it may not have been, cause it didn't seem like a lot of people came and got their stuff, so. What else you got?
How about my auction stuff? Can I sell this stuff or?
I don't have a problem at all selling it, so
You guys just by consensus agree to let him put it on GovDeals.
I'm fine.
Okay.
John?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Alright, we'll put that part there on next thing is, I finally got my design
What do you
release.
mean next time? How many things you got?
I backed up there, I was gone. I got it all come in at once. Mike got my construction design release for the wash bay storage building there.
Oh, yeah.
Finally. So, anyway, I'm gonna start taking bids on material. Maybe even, well, next week.
So the back part of this is open?
Yeah, it's open, and that's kind of deceiving. Truthfully, it's
Oh,
half
this,
and
you're
half.
talking about your building
Yeah,
down there.
truthfully,
yeah.
it's half and half on stores open. That kind of doesn't look at that picture, but
You're saying half?
half of it's open
closed?
storage for cinders and stuff, and the other part's closed. Probably a better idea on that second page. More truthful picture. So it'll be open, 30-foot span, that'll be groceries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna, as far as the material goes,
So you've got a materials list here now, and now you're gonna go
yeah,
out
we're
and-
with, any lumber place, I can take those plans to them, and they'll figure it up and give us a price on the material. And then from there, I'd just like to get I'm gonna, get a price for the labor to build it and put the metal on.
You know, your building space was funny. He was down at the highway garage the other day wanting to know where the building was. He thought it was already,
Already built?
well, at least, I said, what building you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, that one, yeah,
It took a long time to get that.
yeah.
So, but anyway, we're still gotta go through the local building permits, but that one's the hard part. So, we're good on that. But anyway, I'm gonna bid out the labor. Do we need to advertise that
What?
for
what
the
do you
labor
think
to
then?
actually build and put the metal on?
That's an entire project, right? So is it gonna exceed 50,000? But it'd be under 150,000? Is that your range? Because then that would mean that we
Well-
would just take quotes. But if it's over 150, we'd have to do a notice to bidders, and that'd be for the entire project.
I'm sorry. Is
Okay.
this a public works?
Yeah, public purchasing.
What do you think the,
Well, we'll revisit this. So, when we originally said this, so basically, I wanna get a price on our material and buy it from a vendor. Our material, we are gonna buy it, and then get a price for labor to frame and put the metal on our building. So we're gonna bust up the project.
you can't bust a project
Yeah,
though.
but I can't afford it without busting.
Well, let me be clear, you can bust the project up, but you cannot, bust it up with the purpose of avoiding,
The-
the
the-
threshold
Yeah.
amounts.
Yeah, that's been done
So
before.
if you're less than
I mean, you're
150, you
purchasing
can do it.
materials plus.
Oh, we'll be
public
less than
works and stuff.
150.
Let me,
We gotta be less than
I
that.
think.
So if he's less than 150, then he could split it up as long as he stays under 150, correct? You know what you're
The
saying
total
is,
amount cannot exceed,
that's what,
You're wanting to put the metal
no matter
No, we're
how
not gonna,
many.
we're gonna hire it framed
That's
and the
stuff
metal.
you- no
Bricks
money.
you
We'll
have.
do the concrete, asphalt work, wiring work, plumbing work. all that stuff.
If your project
Right,
exceeds
that's
50, but is under 150, we don't have to put it in the paper and do a bidding process with sealed bids. If it's 50,000 or in that range, you can get 3 quotes, right?
So we could get 3 quotes for the material, and then 3 quotes for the labor.
I think what Zach, and it's, I'm not talking for him, but it sounds like if you stay under the 150 for the total project,
Yeah,
you can split it any way you want,
okay.
as long as you stay under the 150. Now,
But
you
you
Do
tell
you
have
have
me,
an
get quotes.
expectation that you're gonna come close to 150?
No, I don't have that much money. So, I'll
You're
be pretty
limited
good
by
there,
your
Zach.
resources.
I would say if you even have a question about exceeding,
Yeah.
you would need to do sealed bids for each.
That really is not a big deal, if
Individual
you just need to
state
seal
bids.
bid for that, that's not that.
But I mean, you'd only be asking for, bids for the framing and the metal.
Right, framing the metal, and then I'll do bids for the
You have-
material.
You ha it's a project, it's the entire cost of the project. You cannot split up materials, you can't split, it's the entire project.
but you can split it
But
as
if
long
he's
as the
wiring
total
it-
doesn't go over the 150,
Right,
correct?
but if he's talking, if he's like Zach, I was going back to Zach, if he's hedging on 150, just like the royalty roofing, we didn't know whether we could take
Yeah.
3 quotes or have to do notice to bidders.
Yeah.
That's where I'm talking about for him.
Okay.
So
but I'm
it's the
saying
entire
if-
project.
If he's having, if he is having them frame the structure and then put metal on and the materials, that is the entire project. The rest of it, he
But
is.
we're talking
doing
about
as
the
far as
cost, right.
Concrete and
But the entire project,
Yeah, but
whatever it's
what
from
she's
start
saying
to
is-
finish,
but
that
what she-
cannot exceed 150.
Yeah, but what she's saying is that the cost of the concrete, the wiring and everything else,
Everything.
and then the framing, the metal and if it all exceeds 150, which he's saying it's not going
Work
to.
right.
But, then you can't break
You
it
can't
up.
break it up, you have to bid it.
So he's saying it's gonna be under 150, cause he's not gonna spend any more than that.
Yeah,
Cause you ain't got it.
that's right. Well, not, we went bigger.
Good thing we ain't got it, I tell you.
May have to cut a pole off or two. Okay, so I'm gonna work on that, but
All
anyway,
right.
so, you know, I ain't done yet here.
Oh my gosh.
I
You
lost my
need to come
agenda.
back, you need to come by more often.
I lost my paper.
Is it community crossing grant?
Yeah, community crossing. So it's that time of year again, it should be sometime in January. I wanted to just give you all an idea, and this is just something I fill out. And this is just a bar graph that it draws out for us, so you can see where the county kind of lays right now. So I go through pacer scale all the roads, and this is just one of the sheets that it breaks it down, and it'll show you how many I'm just pointing with this, how many miles is in fair condition, how many miles is in poor condition, and how many miles is in good condition. So I just have a breakdown on what the county lays right now.
Well, I like the poor number.
Yeah, so I mean, if you all are good with it, we'll go ahead and apply for paving this round, the $333,333.33.
Does the council have
You
it?
mean, is that what the council would put up?
Yes, that'd be our match money,
Yeah,
and we
okay.
would just go, that would allow us to go for the full amount, and then get what we get. But I would like to take note, and this kind of bounces back to the asset management and stuff that I was talking about before. If you all see, the county's down to 11 miles of actual qualified poor roads, right? So, after this year, when I walking back in and saying, I want $1 million for asphalt. I do this for NDOT. They pull that up, well, you got it. Why?
You can show them why.
Well, you
No,
can,
but-
you can show them why, but they're gonna look at that and say,
They're not gonna give us any
well, you're
money.
not in that bad a
Cause
condition.
we've
Oh, okay.
paved over
You've paved a
150.
lot of roads. So with that being said, the asset management that I'm looking at to try to get all together, we need to start turning our attention to preservation on what we've done,
Yeah,
and turn our attention to the asset management of trying to use that money to replace structures and so on and so
So if I'm
forth.
hearing you right, you're gonna try for the roads.
This year,
see
yeah,
what
this year,
happens.
let's try,
See what
because we
happens.
still have roads that need 100%.
yeah, what he's saying is that we
Talking
have,
about in the following year.
yeah, we have 11 roads, or 11 miles of roads right now that are in poor condition. We have 221 miles of fair condition and 7353 of good condition. So he's saying that if he goes back to the community crossing grant, not this year, but next year, they're gonna laugh at him because they're gonna say, you don't have any bad roads. You got too many in the fair part and not enough in the poor. So our probability of getting a grant may not be there.
Well, for
Although-
actual 2 inches full pavement, you
Yeah.
know?
And I know that's accurate, because you checked it, but I know there'll be citizens that go, nah.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Oh, I
so-
get that. They're
yeah,
never satisfied.
You run off the pacer scale, so a pothole doesn't justify a full $1 million project.
Yeah,
It justifies cutting that area out, fixing it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So doing quick math here.
Yeah.
If it's, I'm just saying $80,000 a mile to pave. And
Yeah.
and that may be high, but maybe not,
Maybe low.
maybe low. But it used to be about 60, but, you know, things have changed. And then we have 11 bad miles, and say we got a grant to cover all that, then we're looking at 880,000. We won't need $333,333.33, because that's not the quarter match, that's not the 20. Our award may be 880,000.
Right.
That may seal the deal on our roads, and then we, like you said,
Right,
Maybe
yeah, we're at the
spotlight on
mercy of
structure.
what they give us anyway, but, you know, if you went
But
for
if
the
you
full
did-
amount,
yeah.
even a road that's in fair condition, if it's a heavily traveled road, you may wanna pave it more than maybe the road that's in poor condition that gets 2 cars a day.
yeah.
we
You know,
we
so-
shouldn't be disappointed if we get,
I
you
think-
know, 500 to a
We're going on a
million.
downhill spiral, we need to look at assets
I
beyond.
think we've done well with the money we've done over the years, and I think we it's happy as heck to look and say we got 11 miles that they're saying is. you
They
know,
would fall under the poor condition.
And I think that's a testament to, some planning over the years, so hopefully, we could start looking at,
So-
spending money somewhere else.
I'm gonna tell you, since we're on that path now,
Here
I'll
we
finish
go.
up. Here we go. I didn't even write paper. Right back to the preservation. Community crossing can be used for preservation.
Good.
So that's Crime River, that's chip seal, and rejuvenations, and 1,000 products, and they come up with different stuff every day.
But I'm gonna ask you a question, does community crossing grant, can you use it for equipment?
No,
So it has to be the actual work?
yeah,
Okay.
and it's
All
very,
right.
very detailed.
Oh, I know.
And anyway, I'll just lay it out quick. For a roller, a chip spreader, a distributor, a semi, two tractors, and the asphalt roller, county highway is $1.2 million. That's the kind of money they need to get into the chip seal business. That's the kind of money they need to mow the roads, because we are on borrowed dime on the mowing situation. We got one mower, and I wouldn't trust it to make it very far. So,
How far is, I've asked you this before, but how far is the mowers out if we decide we're gonna buy one or two? 6 months?
yeah, John Deere's saying around 6 months. I'd have to give you an answer on Kubota, because they don't. All the rest of this equipment, it's all over the place. Like the rollers are like, hey, we got one that's only got 10 hours on it over here, because it's with a display, or in effect, we can't get you that one, but we can upgrade you and cut you a deal. So equipment's still hard to get. Tractors, not quite as bad. But
Okay.
anyway, I think that's it.
That's your wish list?
That's my wish list, and that's good new equipment, except the semi that is used, because I don't think we anywhere near need a new semi. We don't drive it enough miles. I was actually advised by a farmer the other day that we really need to look at 2007 and over, because it doesn't have the emissions on it,
Yeah.
because we don't
Right.
never get out and
I
open them
agree.
up.
I
Is
agree,
it-
I agree with that.
Is it possible in this community crossing grant, even though we will go for $1 million, they might say, with a 11.1, we're only gonna give you 500,000 or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't, we could get all or part,
You could get all or part, yeah,
yeah, okay.
yeah,
Well, that would be nice, I hope so.
yeah.
One thing I'd like to say, real quick to this, is, and Kevin's asking this to be funded through ARP funds. And in my opinion, there is not one thing that we could possibly put that money to that would positively affect every person in Scott County than this right here. I mean, no club, anything else we give that money to will not positively affect everybody. The county highway department, it will affect everybody in Scott County. The only thing that we could do different is start writing checks to people of Scott County.
I agree with that, because like you said, that people don't realize, they realize it when it doesn't happen, because I've had more than, and I'm gonna say more than 15 conversations with people about why is the roads not mowed? Why is the intersections not mowed? Why? Well, when, I tell them, when your mower breaks down, does your yard get mowed until it gets fixed? And we've had that problem. Is that anybody's fault? Absolutely not. I mean, I guess if it is, you can come back to us and say, we've been lucky to get by with the the primitive equipment we've had for a long time, and it's time that we're gonna have to pay the piper. I mean, because if we wanna mow grass, we're gonna have to buy the equipment. If we don't wanna mow it, then, keep throwing money in a well that's, pretty deep right now, so.
And I'll also say that, we just took a bid for $60,000 to mow twice a year. Okay, there's a couple things we know. One, we can't just mow a couple times a year. You know, we found that out for sure, most definitely this year. You've gotta mow at least 3. Secondly, when that rolls around next year, I will personally be surprised if that number is the same amount. And you're probably gonna have to take bids. And if you don't have the mowing equipment to sit there and mow your own stuff, and they know you don't have your mowing equipment, you are going to get raked across their coals on a quote.
Yeah.
You gotta at least have the equipment, or the threat of having the equipment, to keep that quote down.
And I would go so far, real quick, to, on top of that is, maybe not next year, maybe not the year after, but maybe the county wants to look at that. If, yeah, they need that equipment, and you gotta have something, you know? But in the future, if you look at that and you say, okay, well, we can contract mow for $150,000 and break open all these man hours over here to do this preservation work and this chip seal work, that's gonna save you X amount of millions in the next 10 years, that $100,000 is good money spent.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
just
me,
look at it in
I'm
the
all
future.
for, I'm ready to purchase something right now to help you out on the mowing. On the chip and seal and all that, I just didn't wait to see whether we're gonna get grants for roads or not. If we can get $1 million worth of grants for roads, to me, the chip and seal secondary. New roads would be my priority. Let's see what happens before we go investing a bunch of money, whether we're gonna get anything or not. That's me. I mean, I'm just
But
But you
one.
were saying,
Gonna have, I'm sorry, Mike.
no, go ahead.
The issue we're gonna have is, let's say we don't get the grants, and that's what you're wanting to hold off on, right?
Yep.
If we don't get the grants, we cannot do anything, because we don't have it in the budget. If we don't get the grants, the chip and seal is the only
Well,
thing.
you're talking about a grant from ARP, right?
No, I'm talking about the grant from the roads,
Community crossing.
community crossing grant.
Yeah.
If we don't get any community crossing grants,
Yeah.
the only thing that you're gonna be able to do to fix roads is
So,
chip and
well,
seal.
I think he's applying for all that.
He
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, so, but I
thought
mean,
that
if
you
we-
wanted to wait to see.
The roads are more important to me, honestly, they are.
Well, they are.
Well,
New pavement's more important to me than chip and seal.
I get that.
I know the state doesn't probably agree with me, but
No.
new roads,
I just can't say
And
that
I
anybody
agree
that
with-
knows asphalt preservation
and,
would agree with you.
and I get it, but I'm saying a lot of new roads that I wouldn't consider number in that condition, a lot better in that condition.
So,
It's just my opinion, I prefer to go for the
I got
road.
you, but if you take a road that's 10 years old, and you can chip it and get 7 more years out of it in the local budget, it's, I'm not making it up. Just go to any county with a good engineer, I'll guarantee you he has a good chip seal
I
program.
just had a conversation with an engineer at, two Saturdays ago, in Harrison County.
Mhm.
And,
Good engineer, too.
And, he is going back to chip and seal, and he said, people don't like it. He goes,
No.
but I only have so much money, and I can spend that money a long ways with chip and seal, and it's preserving the road instead of not doing anything and letting that road just deteriorate. And then you still have to spend more money down the road doing the same thing. The other person was, and I thought, because I heard a story that Jackson County has equipment sitting there and has been sitting there for a few years, that they're not chip sealing because of manpower. And actually, you and I talked about it, and you reached out to them, and I reached out to the commissioner, and they don't want to sell it now because they're going back to chip seal. So it is probably the thing to preserve and extend the life of a road before you have to totally pave it again, so.
And I wouldn't disagree with you on new roads, John, like, on a community crossing into things. Like, if you chip seal 20 miles of road, I'm not saying there don't need to be 8-10 miles of new road on a community crossing,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not the solve all, but I'm talking about in the full
Secondary
circle.
roads.
Yeah,
And I'm guessing, is this like 2 grants we're going after or 1? I know we're going after.
oh, I'm not going after any grant for chip
Well, I
seal.
mean, I'm
It's-
talking, and I don't understand.
I'm talking about it.
how-
I'm talking about in the future, like
Yeah.
if you wanted to say, okay, let's do extra chip seal miles.
Yeah.
You know, this year, because I can almost promise you're going to get
Yeah,
money for that before you're going to get it for asphalt.
well, the chips, I'm not against the chip seal.
But I'm talking about in-house money.
Yeah.
You know, our actual pavement line money.
Yeah.
How far you could take it, you're not going far at full retail asphalt with
Not
our
anymore.
money, you know, you're
That's,
just not.
that's the point I was trying to make.
But you can go further on the preservation.
Well, it used to be, and this is like Tammy was saying a minute ago, it used to be that a mile paved road was $50,000. A mile of chip seal road was 11. So how many more miles can you do chip sealing, which gets a solid base and hopefully no potholes, but it extends the life. And then, like you said, we're looking better on our roads of 11 miles in the unsatisfactory or poor condition.
Poor condition.
But if we can take some of these secondary roads that used to be gravel and still don't have a really good base under them because they were never set that way in the first place, and when they start to go away, chip sealing those that have less traffic on them and paving the main drags,
And I guess my argument would be too, is your 270 miles of your fair condition roads, okay? Those have cracks in them, those roads.
Oh, yeah.
Those roads they're in fair condition, but they won't stay in fair condition.
Yeah.
If they're crack sealed and they're chip sealed, you're liable to get 10 more years out of that road.
And that's
If-
exactly
if
right.
we don't start,
This is where I'm at.
chip sealing them roads, we will lose all 221 miles.
Well, we also need to, like you said from day one with your employment, we need to start ditching too, so.
Oh, absolutely.
When
Yeah.
you keep,
It all
when you
goes
keep the
hand in
water
hand.
off the road, so.
And if chip seal didn't work, the state wouldn't be doing it now.
We gotta work on a
State's-
better,
State's doing it now.
we gotta work on a better asset management plan all the way across the board.
Yeah.
And that's why I brought Derek here tonight is, it starts there and then it goes to chip seal and it goes to
Well,
crack
I
seal.
think-
And new pavement's not nearly out the door, it just,
But also what you said is if you go this year for next year, if it's 11 miles and they say, okay, you get your grant. But when you come the next year, 24, they're gonna say, you don't have enough roads to do that. But if you say, I'm gonna do road preservation,
you know.
we can get another grant possibly showing that, hey, we have our roads paved, now we wanna maintain them and make sure we extend the life of them, so I think you're on the right track, so.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, guys.
All right, moving on, Health Department custodial contract, services for North Gardner and satellite offices.
This is not a renewal, but this is a renewal for services, but not a renewal with the same vendor. But we're looking at basically this, roughly the same price. I went back and pulled information. The prior vendor, which was Hickman Cleaning Services or whatever, was $10,800 for the entire year for both locations. This vendor's coming in, what I can see, at $10,716. So you're roughly the same cost. It's not going up.
So the other person,
They just got out of the business.
so the new person is not the person that does it here in the courthouse?
No, this is this is a health department, and they've
Oh.
always used a different vendor than we have.
Like where I was going with is that if we're using somebody in the courthouse, would they not be interested in doing this?
I don't know, I don't know how their client
I
base is.
haven't,
I have no
I've never heard them say one or the other.
I guess where I'm getting at is that, we're using one in the courthouse, maybe they'd be interested in doing this. I don't know, they may be higher, I don't
Yeah.
have a clue, and I don't know these people from,
Who is this?
I think we should
Somebody
open
else.
it up for bidding.
This is tiny, is it bidding, quotes, I guess,
How much is it?
$10,800 a year for both offices to be cleaned.
But that's the name of the company?
That's the name of the company, Healthy Clean Services LLC.
And we
They're
think-
local, they
Yeah,
are
that's-
on Smith Road in Lexington, the
That's who's
owner.
doing it now, isn't it?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up here.
Hickman went out of business, Hickman retired or whatever, and so
Yeah.
she's no longer cleaning. And so Michelle had to find another small cleaning agency to take care, because they don't have big offices. And we're talking, it's the same amount, and this is covered by her grant
The
that
money's
she
the
has.
same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so she's not asking for more money, she's just asking for a different vendor. And Zach's reviewed the contracts, and I think they're general, but it's up to, this isn't, it's a service, so we don't even have to really bid these out, I don't think anyway. But that's up to you guys, if you wanna tell her to get multiple, get quotes or whatever on it, that's up to you guys.
I kinda think we ought to get bids for everything, cause if we save $1,000, it's $1,000 saved. I mean, it's taxpayers' money, so.
So,
I guess
This
it's
is,
grants,
it is taxpayers' money in the long run, but it
Right.
is covered by grant funds. And it's,
I
It's
get
consistent.
that, but
and she's not, and it's consistent from expenses we've had for the past several years, so it's not like.
the money's
It's
gonna
a
be,
big, it's a change in what we're spending, I guess I should say.
I'd ask her to bring back at least another quote anyway, so I'd like to see if.
And she
But-
may have called around and got different
And-
estimates.
yeah.
I think what I'm asking here is, no matter who we get, they're gonna get paid the same thing. Because that price is set if it's on a grant, isn't it?
No,
No, she-
So
no.
we could pay less than what they're asking for the grant.
The grant covers
Several
cleaning
items.
services
Okay.
for the facilities.
It's a
Okay.
So,
reimbursable.
and she kept, whoever she picked was within the same cost range of what she'd been spending. So she probably, I would assume, thought this was something that was
Mhm.
not, she's not asking for anything additional. She's
Yeah.
just asking
Right.
for a different vendor to do the job, that's willing to do the job. So, I mean, if you guys want her to give
I
you who
mean-
she's reached out to, I mean, she may have done this work and just, this is the best price she had, cause this is not a bid. It's just trying to find the best price.
Well, I mean,
I'm okay with that.
understand, you get that, I'm
Right.
just saying, you know, to be good stewards of
I think you're
all
right.
tax money,
Yep.
we should probably get more than one bid. you know.
And I'm not saying she didn't reach out and get those already.
Well, if you did,
She just couldn't be here tonight to, and I don't know how to answer that.
I think what you probably wanna do is table it for tonight,
Yeah, that's what I.
ask.
Find out if she got more than one price,
Yeah.
to see if this is the better price.
Yeah, that's the only question I'm asking.
It's a good question.
I mean, the guys here doing it in the courthouse, I mean, I would have thought that they would, they're in the business, so.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's table it till the next
And
meeting.
there's one, hang on just one second, I wanna look at something here.
She's got something else on here about the billboard contract.
She gave me something here.
Yeah, I got
I know,
that.
oh, I think I had it confused with this. This is where she was showing you
This
that
is-
she had it in printing and advertising, cause she's
Yeah.
got the money
That's
for
fine.
that.
We're gonna table that till the next meeting, get some more information from her. The other thing she had on here is a billboard contract for, and I know this is, we've done this before in the past. This is a billboard, advertising that she gets grant money for, and they put up different billboards around the county. You know, it has always something to do with, you know, better health for somebody, so. And this is all grant money again, so I'd entertain it, or if you guys got a question about either one of these, so.
No.
Randy? I'll entertain a motion to accept this.
Motion.
John makes a motion to accept JR Promotions for an outdoor contract for a billboard for the health department. Randy? Second that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
And I'll save this for signatures.
Employees, 2022 bonuses from the ARP Fund, Resolution 20-20, hashtag 2022-010, so. I know we talked about this, I know we sent it to the, council, for their thought process, and I know they're in the midst of, well, I think they're actually done with the bump, or with the, budgets for next year. They actually asked me to, if we'd hold off doing something with this until their meeting on the 26th.
And that's their final,
Cause they have some thoughts that they're wanting to look at, and they asked us if we would just kinda hold off until they can meet at that meeting, so.
and I wanted you to know that I changed per the last meeting, the amounts to 1,300, 650, and 300 as you requested. I just wanted to tell you, I updated this, so
So
we're,
Anybody got any comment?
is
I'm
this
ready
the
to
final
vote on it,
form?
but I understand.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, we can, I mean, don't get me wrong, we can vote on this and it can go back to them until they
Yeah.
appropriate the money, it's
Yeah.
just sitting out there in thin air, so.
Because your resolution, be it resolved, that says contingent upon appropriation by
Yeah.
Scott County Council. So
Absolutely.
you can sign this tonight as your plan that you'd like for them to entertain on the 26th, and if it doesn't pass, it just doesn't.
Doesn't pass,
We
yeah.
can do that.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem doing that, cause I just
Yeah.
want you to know that they've asked,
So,
you know, for them to
Yeah.
see what their plan is, and if they don't appropriate the money, then, and they have a plan, they send their plan back to us, and we can say yes.
Yep.
But at
agree.
least it's been advertised, and if they table it, they can entertain it at
Okay.
their next meeting.
Yep.
So,
So I'll entertain a motion to accept the resolution, 2022-010. It's a resolution approving a 2022 wage bonus from the ARPA money, to eligible employees. And I'll go ahead, I guess, read it real quick. Whereas, the Scott County has received funds from American Rescue Plan Act, and whereas the Scott County Commissioners approved under the IRS final rule the allocation of the ARPA money funds taken the entirety of $4.63 million as a loss recovery. And whereas the Scott County Commissioners would like to recognize and appreciate the dedication of the county employees and its service to the public, and whereas the Scott County Board of Commissioners at their September 28, 2022 meeting agreed to distribute the ARPA money, or ARPA funds, for a 2022 wage bonus for eligible employees, and whereas eligibility of employees and corresponding bonuses are defined as follows. A, full-time employees actively employed from January 1 of 2022 through October 1 of 2022 with no break in service would receive $1,300. Part B, part-time employee regularly scheduled and actively employed by January 1, 2022 through October 1, 2022 with no break in service would receive $650. Part C, part-time employees intermittently scheduled for a minimum of 10 or more pay periods actively employed from January 1, 2022 through October 1 of 2022 with no break in service would receive $300. Part D, excluding those on FMLA, employees that were on any type of leave of absence for a period greater than 1 month from January 1, 2022 through October 1 of 2022 will not be eligible for the bonus, i.e. workman's comp, military leave, suspension with pay, without pay, etc. It is to be resolved by the Scott County Board of Commissioners that the 2022 ARPA employee bonus policy is hereby approved on October 5th, 2022, contingent on the appropriations from the Scott County Council. So, who makes the motion?
I'll make the motion to pass resolution 2022-010.
John made a motion to pass the resolution, Randy?
I second that.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
And like I say, we'll see what they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, moving on here. WTH Technology data relays to Orin Renewable Energy Group.
and this is a customary request that occasionally, outside agencies want to have layers that WTH, basically gives them access to for a fee that's associated with that. The cover letter will tell you that if they get $500 to do this work, but out of the $750 fee they charge Orion, we get $250 at the county that goes into a fund that helps support our GIS maintenance. So, they vet and they send these requests to you for approval because the data by the contract is, you guys are over the contract, so you're over the data and disclosure, of that data. So, this is, they, like I say, WTH wouldn't want us to give data to somebody that they didn't feel like was, you know, somebody that was gonna use it for the purpose that they claimed to use it for. So you can see what layers, if you look at the second page, what MAC layers that, they're gonna be looking at, addresses, parcels, you know, county bridges, that type of thing. It's all public.
So this is what the public's gonna be able to see.
This is what Orion's gonna get
Okay.
from our GIS.
Oh, I see, okay,
Yeah.
I get you. I get
And
you.
and WTH is gonna pull that data for them, they're not just gonna give them
Yeah.
access.
Okay, so what do you need from us, a consensus?
Approval, and then I'll get somebody to sign it
All
after.
right, I'll give, everybody, I mean, had an opportunity or understand what she's explaining. Got any comments?
No,
Says here attached is a copy of the electronic map data application for Orion Renewable Energy Group requesting county GIS data. So it's, this company's asking for information from our WTH stuff, our GIS stuff. So, do we wanna give that information to this company? Which is, looks like on the back side, it looks like addresses, state and federal highways, local roads, partials, lot lines, partial nodes. Actually, that's not true, I didn't say partial nodes. Subdivisions, soils, water, lakes, rivers, streams, county boundaries, township boundaries, municipal corporate boundaries, legal sections, railroads, county bridges, landmarks, and whatever ESN service number boundaries, so. What are you thinking, Mr. Attorney?
I mean, I think that all the information that's could potentially be provided would be public record. I think it's more of a discretionary issue for you all at this point. It is, just understand it would be I believe, if I'm understanding this correctly, Orion is just a third-party provider who compiles the data for someone else, right? So that they don't have to come down, you know, and they vet that person.
Like the GIS is just gonna, WTH is just gonna basically go in there and extract the data that they need from our files rather than somebody looking through every bridge we've got and writing them down.
Exactly.
They're gonna be able to access our data and quickly provide that to them as a matter of just compiling our data that's already out there anyway for anybody to see.
It's already public record, it's just, they're asking WTH to give it to them without having to go
For
through all that.
$750,
Yeah.
they can get everything they need a lot faster than
I'm
paying
fine with
somebody to research that individually.
and we'll make a little money off of it, is that
And we'll get
correct?
$250.
What do you think, Randy?
I don't see no reason why not to do it.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to sign the paper to allow them to get their information.
And I've got the originals here, so.
I'm good.
John makes the motion, Randy?
I second.
John makes the motion, Randy seconds, I'll make that unanimous to give, Orem New Generation LLC some information, which is already public record, so. Maximus cost allocations, plan contract renewal,
Okay.
Yeah.
too bad.
You guys have got a copy of an email that was sent to me by Matt Cozy Cars. That's how I think
Is
you
that
say his
you,
name.
right there?
I'm honorable, not
Honorable?
dishonorable. Yes, I'm honorable. And but Matt, he is our Maximus representative. The last time I believe this contract renews, it was Deborah Adams. She was in here, and these are 3-year contracts, Mr. Attorney. These are a few rare agreements that we have that go for the course of 3 years. And it's largely, it's just basically how they're set up, because they go back and pull cost allocation, and what that has to do with our 4D reimbursements. So it's federal monies, it's tied to child support activity, that we can get incentive monies back on, for work in child support. So envelopes, paper, square footage of the courthouse, areas it's dedicated to, or a portion is dedicated to child support activities, federal government gives us incentive money back on. And that's very important to our budgeting process, because those things can be used to, help our local, because we've had the expense of, like I say, envelopes and various things, and certain wages. They're divvied out according to the percentage of work that they do on child support issues. So Maximus comes in and has the tedious job of looking at payroll claims, expenses, square footage of keeping track of who's where in this courthouse. And I advised Matt that, eventually some people may be moving around, so what the prosecutor occupies now may not be the square footage in a few years. So he said, are you doing any changes? So we try to keep in contact, so we can write off the right amount, allocate it to this plan. So they work very well with us. There are other vendors out there that do this, but this is, again, one of those renewing contracts. You know, these
Okay.
aren't, they're services, so we don't typically, once we get somebody and their costs aren't billed to the county per se, it comes out of the incentive money. So it's incentive for them to find the right amount of funds, because that's how they get paid. It's not tax dollars.
What's this on the back here, the fee breakdown?
That's their fee breakdown. That's what
That's what we pay them, or,
that is what, they get $3,100 a year to come in here and review these claims. That's
Okay.
their fee.
okay,
And
same
that's
thing for
paid
next.
for out of the incentive money.
Okay. All right.
You will.
We're already using them,
We've
right?
done
We
it.
use them already.
Yeah.
It's one of those deals where they can save us money if they find stuff. and-
They bring money to
Yeah,
us,
so
yes.
I'll entertain a motion to renew this contract with Maximus.
Oh, sure, make that motion.
John makes a motion, Randy. Randy seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, so it's another thing to sign.
Yeah, I'm stacking them up over, you won't be able to see me here in a few minutes.
Corporation resolution for Scott County 401, Scott County's 401A plan, so.
Okay, that's me again. This keeps us good with the IRS. Our 450, most people know it as our deferred comp or our 457B plan, but that's our, used to be Mass Mutual. Now we're going to, Mass Mutual was assumed by Empower. You may be seeing some documents here in the near future to sign off on that merger. But this keeps us in good standing with our third-party administrator says we need this filed with the IRS, and there's reference to that down here. Now be it therefore resolved that the board here amends it and restates
what
the
I was
plan. The 401A is the county's contribution to the match, the 457B, which is the employee's side of this. So 401A and 457 are his and hers, okay? So the 401A is what's under the county's management. The 457B is managed by the same plan, but it's the employee's side, okay? So the 401A needs to be restated that the plan is in accordance with IRS guidelines. And you guys just have to do this, and it's a matter, every so many years you have to say that that's the case, and I need to get this to our third-party administrator.
Sounds like legal stuff, Mr.
It
Attorney.
is mumbo jumbo stuff.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept this corporate resolution, Scott County 401K plan amendment 2022-1. Effective date is January 1 of 2022, so.
I think I'm a yes, but I want to hear you say, okay, yeah, I'll make the motion.
John makes that motion to allow the signature, Randy.
I second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so you got that one too.
Yeah,
Mike sign this, is that who signed?
he will, and I will
Okay.
witness it.
Yeah.
All right, consideration of September 7th, payroll ratifications. Everybody had an opportunity to look at payroll claims.
And that was supposed to say October, so I'm so sorry.
Well,
That's
that transfer,
October
that's what
7th.
I got.
All right,
Amendment.
October 7th. October, and actually in the book it is October 7th.
Did we
Everybody had an
bypass this?
Huh? I'm not there yet.
Okay.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept the payroll claims.
I'll make the motion.
John makes a motion to accept the payroll claims, Randy.
I second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. Consideration of the minutes for the September 28th regular meeting. Everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes.
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
John makes a motion to accept the minutes for the 28th meeting. Randy
Second.
seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous. So now we're to the transfer station holiday hours. So is this locked in stone, or is this something we're
This is
just,
what something I want you to take a look at, because you know with their Saturday hours and holidays and when they fall around the weekend, we need to always, and I always feel like the public needs to know ahead of time. So Thanksgiving, we're always closed Thursday. They could be closed Friday, but they open back up on Saturday. Okay, that's pretty much following our schedule, but they work Saturday instead. So, Christmas, that's a little bit different. I'm looking at Friday, December the 23rd. we're closed Thursday and Friday, I think, at the courthouse. But they could stay open on Thursday until 2:45 in the afternoon and be closed Friday and closed Saturday on Christmas Eve. And that way they would have the same number of hours a holiday we do.
That's what I was gonna ask, 'cause
Yes.
Saturday's a partial day, so,
That's
We-
why I'm closing them 2 hours early on, or an hour and a half early on Thursday. So they can get out there early and then have Christmas weekend like everybody
okay,
else.
I'm good with that.
Me too.
And I did not put New Year's on there, and you guys know why, because that'll be what you'll talk about next. Because that's 1/3 of 23.
Okay.
I did not put that on there.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the holiday hours for the transfer station.
Yeah, I'll make,
John makes a motion,
I say,
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
the only thing I would like to say is, it doesn't affect this at all, but like on Labor Day, he would have been off Tuesday, cause that would have been his normal day off. And I got a lot of people asking why they were closed Tuesday. So I think we might need to, in the future, if that happens, we might have a better job of letting the public
Well, I
know.
tried, I think, to
Yeah.
have them post
Website and-
out there that, you know, Monday holidays
Mhm.
will result in a Tuesday closure.
mhm.
Federal holidays, and most federal holidays fall on Monday.
You know, when I
So that
explained it
kind
to
of
people, they
makes-
totally understood.
Well,
Yes,
Yeah,
then maybe we just need to post a holiday schedule out there to
Yeah.
cover, blanket it.
yeah.
yeah,
But we
Yeah.
post them individual holidays, and I thought.
but they don't know he's
He
off
got-
Tuesday.
Yeah, I thought I sent
Yeah.
copies out there of the holidays so he could post that
Yeah.
he'd be closed Tuesday, but maybe we got behind on a few of them.
Whatever, just bring it up.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, operation of the transfer station. I just wanna touch base, and I'm not gonna harbor on this, but, it has came to our attention that, you know, in the budget renewals for 2023, that the council is looking at, some appropriations for the landfill or transfer station. I know last year I brought something to the Board of Commissioners, about possibly shutting that down and going a different direction because of the loss of revenue and the loss of money that we're having to pay into the transfer station to keep it running. And quite honestly, I said it a year ago and I'll say it again, if something's not making money and not being able to sustain itself, how much are we willing to throw at it every year? And ever since I've been a commissioner, every year we throw thousands of dollars at it at the end of the year to make it viable. So it's just, I don't really want to open it up too much just to outside think about it, because I don't know how the council is going to vote on the 26th, but just keep it in your mind. You know, hey, different options of what we can do or what we can't do, so.
And I think you're right, we need to at least take a hard look at this, because there may not be nothing there January, so we have to
Well,
come up with options.
and quite honestly, the thing about it is that years ago, when John and I were young,
Long time ago.
they buried trash out there.
Yeah,
You know, now, because we ran out of space, we couldn't bury anymore, we started people haul it there and we haul it off. I mean, we haul it to another big dump someplace. Before, when we were just burying the trash, that cost was minimal. I mean, you know, it was more equipment. I mean, you know, an end loader to dig out a hole and bury the trash and bury it and cover it up. Now we have haul bills and fuel bills and more other bills, and the cost of that is outweighing what we're bringing in, and we just need to have a hard look at it. So, Randy, go ahead.
Well, I wanna say, you know, I don't think the county should be in the trash business, that's for one thing. But, and this is a big but, we are, and we always have been, as long as I've lived. And while it is important for us to get it off the tax roll because the taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for it, I do think there is some options to get prices in line for it to support itself, and we do not have to pay for that. But, you know, if we cannot do that, then we definitely gotta get it off the tax roll because it's just not, honestly, it's not fair to the people to have to pay, you know, their taxes to be paying for it, who actually pays for the trash to be hauled off on a normal basis, you know. But I do think that there is some things that we can do to get prices in line to keep it. Now, it will never be as cheap as what it's gonna be or is right now, because we're paying, you know, 25% or better of everybody's dump to get rid of their trash for them. Somebody I know took a loaded truck for about 6,000 pounds of shingles out there and dumped it for $50, you know. Why? Because a dumpster would cost you $300. So, I mean, that just, you know, they're not being crooked, we're cheating ourselves, you know, so.
Well, the other part of that is what you're saying is that, is the public willing to pay a lot more
Yeah.
to dump construction stuff especially? Are they willing to pay a lot more for the service? And the second thing I'll say is, talking with other commissioners around 4 or 5 counties, when I first became a commissioner, this came up, and I was talking trash with them, and they started laughing, and they said, we're not in the trash business. I said, none of them haul somebody's trash, and they don't collect it. So they do recycling. I mean, that is something they all do, but they do not haul trash for anybody. So that's just something to think about.
And you're right, and I follow that, you know, because once you get your prices in line, you're probably gonna have to start having less customers.
Oh, yeah, you're going to.
And at that point, the following year, you know, because we're talking about maybe putting out a scale out there that's a 10 by 10, that'll hold about 10,000 pounds. You offload your vehicle into this dumpster, then you dump that dumpster into the bin after you've got to wait, and you're gonna pay whatever the cost is, you know, per weight, just like we have to pay per weight cost to get rid of it. So, at that point, people very well might, you know, hey, I'm not going out there, it's just too expensive, which is fine. At that point, we can go ahead and close it, just simply close it. You know, it's not getting enough business to keep the operation going. It shuts itself down at that point.
That's true. Like I said, but a year ago or so, I ran some numbers with the help of a councilman, and we had went to the mayor and talked to the mayor of Scottsburg about, you know, what could we do, and we went back and forth with him on a possibly, you know, having the city do that work that we do out there and haul it off, and we came to some rough figures of what that would cost. So again, I'm not going to go any farther than I've already went now, but just think about it as commissioners. You know, come up with some options, come up with some thoughts, and we'll talk about it after the 26th when the council votes, and we'll know one way or the other how we need to react or what we need to do. So,
Well, I've talked to Valley Scale, and they're supposed to be giving me a quote on a scale. We can purchase a scale that will hold 10,000 pounds through Northern Equipment, which is not always the cheapest place, but just just quick reference of Google for about $1,500, $1,300 to $1,500. So to put a set of scales out there to operate the way I'm talking about, it's minimal.
well, the only problem I see with that is that, are you going to price yourself out of business technically by, you know, saying, okay, we're going to charge them by the pound now, and nobody wants to do that, so.
We could, but that's fine. At that point, it would go ahead and close itself.
So, but that's what we can talk about, so like I said,
Yeah.
we don't even know if it's gonna happen. I wanted to throw it out there. I want you two
Yeah,
to come up with some ideas and some solid figures, and I'll talk about it after the 26th, so.
And I'd like to interject that the
No.
remote pickup is different than your transfer station operation.
Also,
Your remote pickup is a home rule fund,
Yeah.
and if it could sustain itself by the fee you charge for the sticker, when you talk about, the only thing that it's not covering right now is the dumps of Ecotech, because they dump there.
yeah,
So if you could, for the people that don't wanna have a $90 bin at the end of their driveway every 3 months, your remote trash could still be a viable option to catch people that wanna spend, $9 a
Yeah.
month on trash bags.
and we talked about that with the mayor too, and he was willing to accept those 3 dumps a week, from the outside source, so.
And if you guys could determine what volume that would be and what it would cost to dump, then we could back figure all that into what your sticker price would have to be.
Yeah.
Cause we've got almost everything except that figure,
Okay,
okay?
all right, Mr. Attorney.
I don't have anything other than I have looked at the notice of public hearing that was prepared for Jeffrey Street, and, looks perfectly fine to me. I think it's compliant with our local rule on acceptance of a public roadway. And, I think the question is gonna be at the public hearing, basically, do you want to waive some of the conditions that are in the local ordinance, with the understanding that Jeffrey Street is never gonna be brought up to the standards required by that local ordinance. We do not, my understanding, we don't know who the present landowner even is. The developer is gone, and this subdivision predated the ordinance that required bonds to be posted for the maintenance of roads. So, I think just to be clear, this is so that anybody who wants to speak for or against acceptance by the county can show up to that public hearing and voice their concerns or support. And that's all that I have.
Okay.
Meeting's gonna be what, November?
November
16th.
16th,
6th?
at 5 PM.
I got a couple of things, Mike. Hear anything back and forth with Tri-Hawk on their property?
I have made contact with, now 2 representatives from Tri-Hawk, one being, local general counsel. I think the general consensus was that they needed to hear back from, some people that were higher up the chain. They do have an interest in continuing, discussions, but they can take no official action at this time until they have more authority from, the corporate body.
One more thing I had, and I didn't even know this, somebody told me we're paying a fee every month for cameras at our off-site trash sites, and we don't have any cameras up.
I know when Greg Ramoni was here, that was discussed, and Greg, I think was at, if I remember right, Greg said they bought the cameras with I guess the Intel or that's not the right word, but it's, I guess the service with a phone carrier, I guess, to, transmit
Yeah.
that. And that'd be a question I'd have to ask, Andrew.
Well, yeah, I just like, we're not gonna put them up when you just cut that service.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There might be a contract they want us to some point or
Yeah.
something. I don't know how much it is, you know, Tammy, just
It's roughly $100 a month.
on each site,
I think that's total.
so $1,200 a year.
Let me ask Andrew, and if those cameras were purchased, I don't know,
Oh, hell.
it was a
2
deal,
years ago.
it was a deal about, you know, the city of Scottsburg helping them with a boom truck
Yeah.
to put them up, so let's get with.
Well,
get with
either
them, see
need to
what
do
we
them
got.
or cancel the thing or
Yeah, you
something.
can get the November
Randy, you got anything else?
meeting, just to kind of speak.
I have
little
a
bit
couple of
about
things, I did,
costs
with the help of Tammy, receive a email from someone with Verizon about saying that it's slow going, but they are still moving in that process of getting that property, all the permits and everything they need to put the tower up behind John Jones, so. And I'm assuming our money from them doesn't start until they have the tower up.
And that's what, yes, it's
Okay.
constructed, I do believe, and then, that, you also, you have your rental proceeds fund, and that will be deposited in there with
Yeah.
your venture.
Also, I got a question for Kevin. Kevin, are we satisfied with the favor we have, or you know, I heard you made a statement that you thought it was too big for our purposes.
So,
And I'm not putting you on the spot, I'm just
no,
asking a question.
it's kind of a loaded question, honestly. And so I guess, my comment to council was, you know, on a community crossing, you know, things that make zero sense for the county highway to use their equipment, labor, and time, but you can get it done cheaper on the contractor side of things. That's just the given. So it was like, well, their question to me was, well, why would we buy a paper? I said, well, that was before me, and I can't answer that question. And then I told him, was like, I said, I definitely want the county highway to have a paver. I'm not telling you we need a 1055F, because it's Cadillac. Now, but here's the only problem in having this. You know, when you drive a car off a lot, you've already lost that money, right? So could we sell it and recoup that loss that we've already lost? Probably not.
Not unless somebody's wanting one.
You know, and they're a popular machine, I mean, they're all over 65. But I mean, did it go down $150,000 in value when we pulled it off? I don't know, maybe. So if you took that $150,000, let's just say it did, you took that $150,000 off and whatever you sold it for, well, then what are you gonna go buy?
Yeah.
So I don't know, you know, I'm kinda, I think they were
You're
just.
weighing your options.
They was just, I think maybe the council, and it's not their fault, I just don't see the picture of it, but, you know, they were seeing, you know, like the 2 new dump trucks, so why do we buy, one council member, why do we buy 2 new dump trucks? Of course, the dump trucks are used for absolutely everything, I mean, that's, asphalt is a little part of what they do. And the same way as I told them, I don't want to, not many counties have a paper and pay me anything at all.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing to do paper patching, and it'll work if we can jump in and do. So,
But you're saying technically what you're saying is that if you were here, you wouldn't have bought that particular machine or were asked to buy that particular machine. It is a Cadillac, I know that, and actually,
I guess if the question is, do I need that machine? No. Do I need that side of the machine? No.
let's see where I thought we were getting at with it, and I'm not faulting anybody by it, is that when the old paper we had, you paid this side and you paid this side, and we were having a heck of a time trying to keep the line straight in the center or making it not a ridge. This one, you pay one stripe and you're
To be able
down.
to do that's a great thing. I mean, we're about the only county that's doing that. So, like I said, do I have to have that paper? No. Is the money already lost? Probably.
You're saying we can't recoup our money, so.
Well, I mean,
I doubt it. If I was guessing.
Okay, I'm just asking.
the time to ask that would have been a few years back when the paper was bought, but now that the paper's here, there's not much we can do.
Yeah, it's kind of here now.
Oh, I get
And
that.
that's
I get
what-
that. I just-
And not that it was a terrible idea to say, okay, I want that size of paper because it goes out the full width of the road. I get it. I get the thought process behind it. The only thing that I would argue to say is the county highway payment on community crossing money makes 0 cents. Fine.
I get it.
But it allows you to pay, what, 3 roads here in the last week.
Sure, I mean, it's a great tool to have.
Yeah, because you
It's
didn't have
just
to wait.
because that costs us money anyway. We're paying for that, period.
Yeah.
But, you know, community crossing money covers no fuel, trucks, breakdowns, none of that.
Right.
I can tell you for sure, conversing with Jefferson County, they put pavement cheaper down last year by a contractor than I could in-house. Period.
Yeah.
And that's,
You wouldn't think you could, but you can't compete with a guy at his own game. When he comes in with 50, 60 tri-axle, and he pays 4 miles of road a day, and you come in, you pay 2/10.
I
Guess
guess,
what it is.
I get it. All right, I think that's,
Well, I did have something, I forgot.
you already said you did.
Yeah, I know. But you mentioned Kevin, and, Kevin, while you're here,
I
I
stay for
did,
Jeffrey Street, sorry.
I did talk to Kevin, and he was in agreement with this, and I just wanna make sure the rest of you guys are all right with this, but I asked Kevin if, he would be all right starting to come to the drainage board meetings, because some of the decisions and things that we make, actually affects, you know, how much water goes into the ditch and whether or not that ditch or that road has the right size culvert, for, said water runoff. So, when we do have a, meeting in drainage board, which is usually during the daytime, during operating hours, are you guys fine with Kevin sitting in on that?
I assume that, yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
More knowledge is powerful.
I'll add you to the list when I send out
You just let me know,
notices.
Tam.
I'll read-
Lucky you.
So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
John makes that motion, Randy,
Second?
I'll make that unanimous. Bring them
Marcelo?
papers down.